stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? Stepped in the game, stepped in the game.
Hey, how y'all doing? We all stepped in the game. It's the Road Ninja K9 Descent. Just playing a little Dead Space here. Dead Space 2. Haven't played it in quite a bit, so I figured I'd run through it one more time to see what all the craziness was. Make sure I wasn't going crazy the whole time I was playing this, because the third game they decided to turn it into Gears of War. So I don't really get it. But anyway, so I'm in the middle of playing this, and I got to thinking, hey, I haven't made any videos or anything, and people have been asking me to make videos a lot, and I probably figured out I needed to at some point, so I can go ahead and get a couple things off my chest. So, first of all, first things first, Game of the Year. So, there's a lot of reasons why I can say this game is by far one of the best I've played in quite a long while. It's genre defining, and I just really, I guess there's a duality with that, because I'm trying to figure out why games that have not redefined their genre are nominated over Bayonetta 2 or end up winning in categories over Bayonetta 2, when Bayonetta 2 has basically taken a dead third-person action genre, turned it on its side, and made it brand new again. It's a little bewildering to me that anybody would, go out of their way to say, oh, well, Dragon Age is Game of the Year. Now, granted, BioWare created something between Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, and now that is kind of tried and true, and it works pretty well. The conversation system works pretty well. The decision trees work pretty well. So I can understand why that's a likable game and why that franchise is going to be likable, because of what they initiated for EA. Now, what I have a problem with is that game in particular, even for all the great things that have basically happened for that game, it's not genre defining. It's still an RPG. It still has the same elements that every game before it has. As far as its scope, yes, it's going to be a tad bit larger in some places, and in some places not, because they're still rushing this game to be out. Something had to be out in November. So it really boggles my mind how a game as complete as Bayonetta 2, with all the additional content in that game, and considering that most action games of its genre is usually only maybe 8 to 10 hours worth of content. Meanwhile, Bayonetta 2, there are certain things in that game that are going to require you to play well over 40 to 60 hours of it. And that, and part of that, I want to say 10 hours of that is just getting used to the combo system and getting good at it. Getting to the point where you can get pure platinum in some levels that's a work of art, and that's something that you don't really see in any games of its type. Like you don't really typically get rewarded for style and things like that in the free-flowing way that Bayonetta 2 does. Now, I know some people have seen all the great things that have happened between Ninja Gaiden 3, the nightmare it was, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which was awesome. I mean, also because it was on the Wii U first, but that's neither here nor there. But there is no comparison when comparing that to what is done in Bayonetta 2. That game, from beginning to end, it never lets up. It never lets up. Everything is amped to the infinite level, and everything that you do is amped to the infinite level. Your powers increase exponentially, provided you play the game right and you don't do something ignorant like try to boost all your health first when you first play this game. You almost don't need health upgrades once you started getting your magic and other things upgraded. So that's a little tip to anybody that hasn't played the game yet. That game playing that game the way that it obviously was designed to be played, doing dodge offsets and things like that, and continuing combos almost infinitely, basically until till your execution fails, um, is it's a masterful thing. I can't. Nobody can really put it into words. Just once you get a controller in your hand, once you get a Wii U Pro controller or the Wii U gamepad in your hand, you play this game, you'll understand everything that we're talking about. And a lot of people have been trying to lean on Digital Foundry with regards to graphics and things like that. But they're not judging the graphics. They're judging the frame rate. And how can you judge the frame rate of two completely different games that were optimized for two completely different systems and then try to judge them? Particularly when it doesn't make a case for the system at all, because you're comparing Bayonetta 2 to Bayonetta 1 on the 360 and talking about the frame rate differences. When Bayonetta 1 was released on the Wii U, and it clearly goes to 60 frames per second more than the Xbox 360, has a more consistent frame rate, and it also doesn't have screen tearing, which, I mean, to anybody unbeknownst to, most people out here, if you're a tech head, you know what screen tearing is, and you know how to get rid of it by enabling VSync, and you know how demanding VSync is. So if a system is able to not only run a game at a higher frame rate, but also do it without any torn frames, that is superior hardware, period. I don't understand. It just seems to me like Digital Foundry is trying to allude to the fact to say that the Wii U is somewhere in the realm of 360 or PS3 architecture or horsepower, so to speak, and that just completely is not true in any way, shape, or form. Anyways, back to the topic at hand, which is the game of the year. I don't care what publication says otherwise. The games, I will put it this way. The games that should be game of the year should be the best of their class, best of their genre, and basically they've done for their genre what a moon landing has done for aeronautics. So Super Mario World, a lot of people look to Super Mario World as one of the best platformers ever made. Some people say the same thing about Super Mario Bros. 3 and things like that. Some people even go as far back, if you're as old school as me, and you remember the early PlayStation generation, Adventures of Cookie and Cream. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is the best platformer released this year, period. It has taken the platforming and made it so rewarding and so difficult, yet so charming at the same time, that nothing else released this year has basically surpassed it or is going to come close to it. And I would say that's the case probably for the last several years, with the last notable platformer being New Super Mario Bros. U. With that being said, Bayonetta 2 is that same type of game. It is in that same genre. That same type of genre bending nature. The same way Super Mario 64 redefined how 3D platformers should be played, how cameras should work in a game, Bayonetta 2 has redefined how an action game should be played. It has taken Devil May Cry and basically exponentially made it better in every facet whatsoever. So, that being said, I believe that should be Game of the Year for me. And if you've actually played this game, you're probably going to agree with me. With that being said, because there are a lot of games, and speaking of certain things, the Dragon Age Inquisition, to my knowledge, there are reports of game-breaking bugs in it at launch, and there are patch updates that fixed and sometimes did not fix these game-breaking bugs. So to the point where certain things were limited. Not the case with Bayonetta 2. So you have a highly marketed, highly revered game for a platform that's on a more popular platform than the one that the press does not like to really cover that much, that is broken, versus a game on a platform that people don't like that much, that is pristine, isn't broken at all, runs like butter, and plays like butter. It's awesome. we can't seem to give those individual developers credit for that game. And I'm wondering if this same nonchalant attitude towards this game will also hold true for Scalebound. Because I kind of wonder, because the same people that seem to be writing off Bayonetta 2 were the same people that were complaining about not enough people playing Vanquish, which blows my mind. So it's okay. Platinum Games is an awesome studio when they're making games for a certain platform. But when they make a game for another platform that you don't like, we just don't want to talk about it. And I think that's kind of odd. But I don't really need to speak much, because you've all been to multiple publications or websites. You've seen what their quote-unquote opinion is. You already know what the stance is. 9 times out of 10, Shadow of Mordor, Dragon Age Inquisition, or believe it or not, Assassin's Creed will end up being Game of the Year. If not, it'll be Grand Theft Auto 5, which is a re-release of a game. And all of a sudden, it is the best re-release ever made because it's in first person. That's a fucking camera switch. Are you fucking serious? Why would that make a game dramatically different when everything was already there anyway? It was just a camera switch. The fact that people are defending this and using this as to hold this game up to a pedestal, to give it another award again for another year, even though the online is still fundamentally broken, blows my mind. But anyway, I'm done ranting about that. So I was talking about Bayonetta 2 and how I think it's Game of the Year. You've probably seen Gamers at Large. We're going to be doing probably a couple of awards here or there. And I'm probably going to be lobbying pretty hard for this game right here to be Game of the Year. Now, it has some stiff competition because the aforementioned games that I was talking about that the press likes a lot are probably going to be on that list, in addition to another Wii U game, Tropical Freeze, and probably even Smash Brothers, since Smash Brothers didn't make it on any other list other than Best Fighting Game of the Year or some crap like that. So it's stiff competition for Bayonetta 2. But I think that it is a masterful inclusion to the genre. And anybody that likes those type of games, if you play Devil May Cry, you can't sit here and try to ignore Bayonetta. It's from the same director, and everything is turned up to the nth. Play the game. Buy a fucking Wii U. Get over it. Play Bayonetta and like it. Stop getting upset because you have some preconceived notion to not like the Wii U. It's okay. It's just a piece of plastic. Don't be afraid of it making you happy, because it actually will. Now, some of my other notable mentions. There's a lot of bias because I'm a Killer Instinct fanboy by self-admission. I really was kind of a stickler. I was really kind of reserved when the game first came out because everything that could make that game bad existed. You have a known franchise that people have been waiting for over 10 years, pretty close to 20 at this point. You have that game being released by another developer and another publisher. Half the team from the original Rare was gone anyway, so nobody was left that was actually interested in making that fighting game. Microsoft didn't even know that Rare owned the Killer Instinct franchise, but somehow Iron Galaxy, not Iron Galaxy, but the team before Iron Galaxy, Double Helix, got a hold of this code and made this game, and it is a blessing to behold. It looks ugly. The original character models look ugly, so I immediately started downloading the classic character skins with my Ultimate Edition pack. Outside of aesthetics, it is Killer Instinct. It plays, feels, and runs like Killer Instinct. It's butter smooth. The combos work nicely. There's a good cat and mouse game with the new counter breaker system and the shadow counter system. It's just awesome. You have air breakers now, and instead of the glitch air breakers, you have real air breakers now. Everybody's manuals are the same, so there's no guessing games between certain characters and basically cheesing your way through the match. everything seems to be balanced out just about right. And granted, it had to take a year and a half, and and several updates and patches and things like that. But that is a wonderful thing that they've done with that franchise, because it could have easily gone to hell in a handbasket. So I would like to commend Double Helix and Iron Galaxy for continuing to make Killer Instinct one of the best fighting games for 2013 and 2014. Yes, and that is including Ultra Street Fighter 4. Yes, I said it. Get over it. Also, I would love to recommend and mention Sunset Overdrive. However, unfortunately, I have not gotten that in my hands yet. I would love to get that in my hands so I can have a lot of fun with that game. I have not heard anything bad about it, and everything that I see about it looks great. I'm not sure if there's a demo on Xbox on Xbox One yet. I'll see if I could download one and run through that and see if I can give you guys any impressions. But everything I see about it looks great, and that could end up being my game of the year if I get to play it before we do our gamers at large debate, because this is going to be a real tough deliberation. We're probably going to be in a room fist fighting each other to figure out who's going to get what. A lot of great things came out this year that were kind of under the radar. As much as people do not like Ubisoft, Child of Light was an excellent downloadable game. I don't care what platform you have it on, it doesn't matter. Fucking download it and play that game. Level up and go through and try to go through all the level trees, master all the different characters in that game. I mean, revel in the story, the artwork, everything's amazing about that game. That is a wonderful Ubi art project, and I hope there's more games like that coming in different genres so they can flesh out that artistic vision across multiple different types of games, because Child of Light was just awesome. So in addition to that, you have other downloadable games that, for whatever reason, people do not want to mention that it's on Wii U, and that game is Shovel Knight. For whatever reason, there were a bunch of reviews going around and a bunch of early opinion about this game, saying they like it because it's the best old school game they've played in a while and things of that nature. But talking about it being on the Wii U was a problem. People wanted to mention that it was on Steam all the time and everything. If you're playing it on a console, mention the console that you're playing it and reviewing it for. Don't sit there and try to hype up Steam. Nobody cares. It's okay. It's a Wii U game. Nintendo helped them publish this game on the eShop, both on the 3DS and the Wii U. Give Nintendo some credit for helping these guys out and mention the system that it's on, please. Thank you, press. You're awesome. Get back to work though. So one of the other titles this year that has kind of gotten a little bit of attention from me is one of the best online games this year, and believe it or not, that's Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8, with the additional DLC, has become one of the games I've played the most online this year. Second, of course, to Killer Instinct. So, racing in that game is amazing. It's fun. It's fast. The graphics are great. They are awesome, considering that everything you do in single player shows up in multiplayer. So when you play online, you don't have to worry about missing textures and things like that. Basically, they designed this game to play online that way from the beginning. So you don't have to worry about a degraded experience playing online. If you play on any of these other consoles, you'll see that quite a bit. And you'll also see it in any other type of multiplayer, even if it's system linked. But for whatever reason, this game didn't have any degradation. And that's basically, that's a winner to me, and that's proof in the pudding of there's more under the hood of this Wii U that a lot of people don't know about. Particularly since the game is rendering about 5 different displays at the same time. Because if you look at the Wii U gamepad, there's about 3 different screens that you can switch to in addition to the map that's already there. So that's 4 different screens in addition to the on screen that's on the TV on your main HD TV. And you're talking about the Wii U drawing a lot of pixels at the same time. So kudos to Nintendo for being technical wizards. In addition to that, they also showed Microsoft and Sony how you share, because the share button on the PlayStation 4 and the Upload Studio for Xbox One are really convoluted. Well, At least they really were back during May. It just seems right after Mario Kart 8 was released, and we saw Mario Kart 8 TV, and we saw how you could easily upload and modify a YouTube video and throw it on YouTube within a matter of minutes, versus going through the process of being on PS4, sharing to Facebook, downloading from Facebook, editing it, and somehow uploading it up to YouTube, and on Xbox One, dealing with upload and sending it to your live drive or your Xbox One drive, and downloading, pulling that MP4 down, then trying to re-upload it back up on YouTube on your computer. You just press one button on Wii U, and it's on your YouTube account, and it shows up and it's there. And it also posts to Miiverse at the same time, so that YouTube video is on Miiverse and on YouTube at the same time. And that, I mean, Nintendo just basically showed both of those systems that have all these quote unquote capabilities how to do their own thing via software. So, I like it. That being said, there's a bunch of other things that we're going to talk about for Game of the Year, but I'll get back to that. I kind of want to finish Dead Space 2 here. So I'll see you guys out there. ShadowCasts.